And here we are again. A couple of months ago, I predicted that Capcom is very soon going to experience a lot of problems because their business strategy is absolutely insane and unsustainable. And here we are with Monster Hunter Wilds paving the way to absolute destruction. This is the start. This is the trigger. Capcom, ho ho! Things are about to go up in flames.
Let today's story be a cautionary tale. A company that absolutely screwed over their most hardcore fans to please the market has now been kind of dumped and punished by the market. Capcom, they will not be loyal to you. Okay, let's get into the story. No one's particularly happy about Monster Hunter Wilds right now. On Steam, the recent user reviews are 17% positive. Devs are clearly frustrated enough to move entire...
Wait. How many percent positive? 17! That is insane! Oh my god, that is destruction. Ho ho! Man, it's getting worse over time also. Remember when first Wilds came out and people were happy? Man, these honeymoon periods when they only last a week or two? Oh boy.
Devs are clearly frustrated enough to move entire content updates forward by a month, and now even the people Capcom wanted to please the most have turned on them. That's because the stock market, investors, and shareholders are no longer that happy. Because after releasing Monster Hunter Wilds with weaker optimization in PC, Capcom are reaping the rewards of their sales cratering by 95%. It's a pretty big number. Now, I'm a gamer, you're a gamer,
Wait,
and
that's
you
an
know
ad.
what we're like. So,
That's probably not a gamer, not gonna lie.
477,000. That is the number that VGC spotted in Capcom's first quarterly investor report. Oh, it's a good number, because it's the number of copies of Monster Hunter Wilds that just sold. So, just shy of 500,000. But you need to compare that to the slightly over 10 million from the first month. It is a 5% increase, and it's one that Capcom themselves say is, quote, soft. Which does seem kind of apt, and VGC notes something else here. Even the previous title, Monster Hunter Rise, sold 389,000 copies during the same period. Comparing the release dates, in no way should things look like that. Now, we've been talking about this since the launch, right? There were widespread complaints across all platforms, but especially in PC. And those complaints do actually filter through to potential buyers, especially.
Well, yeah, obviously. The state that this game is in is just absolutely god atrocious. They pushed this thing out before it was ready, and everyone knows it. And they're getting punished for it. Rightfully so, in fact, they're getting punished for it. If a game comes out and it's in such a woeful state, you have no one else to blame but yourself and your own incompetence. It's not our fault. We're just expressing what we are supposed to do. We're disliking the game, we're talking smack about it, because that's how we as consumers deal with these things. We are trying to be nice and protect other people from buying something that's probably not gonna work. That's something that should not be in this state in the first place. Capcom is a multi-billion-dollar company. They have literally not a single excuse for this happening. It's just greed.
Because PC is heavily concentrated in Steam, and those user scores have been red for a long time. But before we dive into why these numbers crashed, we need to talk about how the people Capcom chose to pursue did not save them in the end. Before this game launched, we flagged something absolutely crucial. Capcom released Monster Hunter Wilds to plug an incredible gap in their balance sheet, and it's kind of amazing. What they basically did was a massive gamble that required humongous sales numbers, but not impossible sales numbers for a series as popular as Monster Hunter. It was a risky gamble, but it is one that...
No, actually, by the way, he's completely wrong. These were impossible numbers. Monster Hunter Wilds has performed better than any Monster Hunter before it. By a wide margin, in fact.
Initially paid off. And by paid off, I don't just mean the sales. Their reward after the financial year was literally the highest stock price that Capcom has ever.
That's a Japanese yen, by the way. So this is in euros. What is this, like 35 maybe?
Had. Now, just so that you understand this, they basically had been posting like 10% growth a year, right? And they'd be doing this for a decade. And essentially, to not break the streak, they needed to make a shitload of money really quickly. And that is basically why Monster Hunter on PC was
This is what I was referring to, if you don't know, at the start of Capcom's unsustainable thing. Because the moment, if everything goes fine, this looks amazing. On paper, on everything, shareholders, amazing. Everyone's happy. But the moment you get problems with this, everything's gonna just start crumbling down under your feet. It's gonna be insane.
simultaneous shift, obviously to the great detriment of the game. So that was really good. Happy stock market. But of course, the consequence of this was really bad long tail sales. And after Capcom reported those sales, their stock fell nearly 10%. Now, it still is among their highest figures ever, but it's a noticeable drop. Basically, the line did not go up. And what I like here is
This is pretty much like Bethesda or Ubisoft type of situations right there.
that a company has actually been appropriately punished. I mean, we can be very critical of the market and a lot of the short-termist incentives. This is an example, though, where the short-term thing they did has obviously been bad for shareholder value, because you care about shareholder
No, Bellier, you're completely wrong. The reason this punishment is happening is because they did not get their thing, because they said that they're not doing as well as expected. So people are being like, oh, the 10-year plan is no longer working? Well, time to dip. And that's what's happened.
value, you probably want lots of copies of Monster Hunter to sell for a long time. But no, Capcom had to go and cock it all up. Now, they had spent the last 10 years playing it incredibly safe, posting consistent, constant growth, stable development platforms, stable tech, lots of really good releases, and developers actually being able to deliver in franchises both big and small. And they were rewarded with incredible sales growth and a nice solidly increasing stock price. And they absolutely did benefit from Monster Hunter Wilds getting out the door with absolutely shit PC optimization, but it does seem that it was not in the long-term benefit.
I mean, after Dragon's Dogma 2, that game had like 5 FPS in cities, and no one cared. The game was awesome. Everyone kept playing it, everyone was fine with it. You know, you go out of a city and now you have normal FPS. Big deal, just spend less time in the cities. I'm only half joking about that, by the way. So, you know, Capcom sees that and suddenly everything's fine.
So, let's get to the sales figures. Sales normally drop over launch. That's a guaranteed thing, but to drop this much, this fast, especially for this franchise, it is worth interrogating. And I'll start with what's the most obvious answer. It's that maybe Wilds simply hit its total addressable audience at launch. It has a $70 base price, kinda steep, and it only went on sale once, and only at 20% off. So that's a...
Okay, while I do want to doom the Capcom situation, I'm impartial. I try to be honest. And one thing that people kind of forget about is the fact that we are in a different time. 10 years ago, we were in a situation where a game releases, a million people buy it, and then over the next couple of months, you know, the next month a million, then a million again, and stuff like that. No. Now we are in a situation where day one launches pretty much the only thing that matters. Because the hype is real, the hype is big, and all of these things. Everyone is informed about everything that's happening. I'm talking about this stuff. There's some other guy probably who's worse than me, and you should only subscribe and watch my videos, by the way. Makes sense, right? And there's other people obviously talking about it. So, most people are already decided day minus 30 if they're gonna buy this thing or not most of the time. So, 99% of sales happen pretty much like month one. Not even month one, but week 1 and 2. That's where all of your sales are happening, and after that, it's like a massive drop off.
High bar for purchasers who are on the fence, so the total addressable audience at this current price maybe had been capped out. I mean, certainly it's a game you won't be taking a gamble on when better reviewed games exist. Rise and World are actually available on the very same platforms with far more content. So with no new incentive at that price and no societal pressure from public enjoyment, nothing really moves the needle on Capcom's sales figures yet. Though admittedly Capcom will have Monster Hunter Stories 3 and Resident Evil Requiem coming. Now those will pad out their balance
That's
sheet
gonna be a
to
big
be
one.
a little bit more healthy this year. With those new releases, they won't be in a position of like needing just for their catalog sales to prop the business up. But what is notable is that right after this call, Capcom released the $75 7-disc soundtrack as DLC in Steam. Maybe that will raise some
That's just Capcom typical bullshit. That's just typical Capcom BS.
revenue. I kind of doubt it, but compared to the rest of the catalog, it is especially harsh. Devil May Cry 5 sold 1.78 million. Resi Village and 4 both outsold Wilds at 923,000 and 706,000 respectively, and even Street Fighter 6 sold 538,000 units, the latter almost certainly being thanks to the Switch 2 launch. For the Resident Evil increase, we can maybe think that's Requiem's reveal getting people hyped again, but then there's Devil May Cry's outsized impact, which is pretty much being put entirely on the new Netflix animated series being a hit and getting 5.3 million viewers.
Yeah, that's such bullshit. Everyone, the Netflix anime did not sell anything. Okay, well, you watched the anime and you're like, okay, so I'm gonna go play Devil May Cry now, and I'm gonna save the demons. Oh my god, that anime is literally the free rent demon dilemma all over again. I absolutely can't. I hate these people just too much, honestly.
Again, regardless of whether existing series fans
Garbage.
enjoyed it, clearly a shitload of people saw Devil May Cry.
Is this even true? Let's look at the sales numbers again. So, Devil May Cry. Okay. Okay, this is million, by the way. So this is 1.8 million sold effectively. That's usually written here. Is it actually? Figure 1 blah 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 followed. Okay, it's oh my, what the fuck is this? They put it here? 1,000 units? Bro, you're supposed to put it right here. Right here, not figure fucking 1 or some kind of BS. What is this? China. Okay, Japan. Okay, sorry. What's the difference? Anyway, I don't know. Did this actually help? Did it boost the thing? I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anything that I'm not seeing anything that seems like it. It's supposed to be this one, right? Devil May Cry 2. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything from this. You can't actually tell if it's true or not.
5.3 million viewers. Again, regardless of whether existing series fans enjoyed it, clearly a shitload of people saw Devil May Cry and ended up buying this game. And Monster Hunter already got its movie. The less we say about that, the better, I would say. Not least because the bigger story here is about library availability and accompanying price drops during sales, because those things are key to drawing in new audiences. But you also get new audiences need positive sentiment towards your games. Because despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, people aren't that stupid. Based on Capcom reporting that over 50% of their American sales were on PC, well, we know how important PC is to Capcom's Monster Hunter Wild sales. So, what do you do then when your review score is threatening to drop below 50% lifetime, and when your overwhelmingly negative reviews are sitting at a lovely 86% negative? Well, if you're Capcom looking at this, you're going to have to try some sort of unconventional plan, because technical fixes take time. And the good news is, we actually have got some.
It's not gonna work. You need the technical fixes. You need to add more content. This is what Monster Hunter Wild players want. If you fix that, okay, then we're talking. But unless you do, it's like no one cares.
Confirmation of what those plans.
There's no band-aid solutions to this.
Game director Yuya Tokuda posted this message to players, and in it, he apologizes for the time that improvements are taking, but more importantly, he did confirm some major changes. So, they're moving features from late September to early August. They're hoping that will placate people. That means 9-star monsters for HR 100 plus players, it means new appraised talismans with random weapon skills, and it means balance changes being expanded from 5 weapons to 11 weapon types, and those are all upward adjustments. He also admitted something kind of critical. The Title Update 2's downward adjustments were way too far. Basically, they tried to balance the game better, but they just ended up making certain playstyles that people liked less viable, so now they're reversing course for a bunch of weapon types. But if you want a sign of just how hurriedly this planning is, well, the August 13th patch date kind of does confirm it. It's actually so early that Tokuda even apologized that support hunter adjustments wouldn't be ready in time. So they're clearly rushing content out to address player anger. I mean, why else do you pull features forward this much, even though doing so...
I mean, they have to do this, otherwise they're kind of cooked and they can't really achieve anything, right?
Absolutely does risk the quality of your delivery. Now, as for PC optimization, he acknowledged the elephant in the room. So they've reduced anti-cheat processing load by 90%, but real CPU load reduction won't actually come until the 4th title update this winter.
I guess the anti-cheat thing is good because people were complaining about that a lot.
Which is months away. That's absolutely going to sting. And obviously there's lots of risk here. If these systems that are pulled forward don't land with people or introduce bugs, then Capcom will have rushed content for no huge benefit. But at least we're seeing some open communication here, and it might be paying sort of dividends. I mean, whenever we started doing this video, it was 16% recent reviews. Now it's 23%, so yeah, you know, only up from here. But there's one thing.
Golf clap.
Capcom really does want to go up, maybe even more. That's revenue. Now, how are you going to get more revenue when this is
skins, hot bikini skins?
Really a game that people should not be buying for quite some time? The answer, my friends, is very simple. It's what every game does. Boobs. Okay, no.
Oh, I was kind of joking about that, but hey.
Other bit, everything that people like, shown off by digital swimwear. Yeah.
I was joking. But it is Capcom. Chung-Li, anybody? Any Chung-Li enjoyers? I am. Definitely I am.
Basically, they're pulling a Marvel Rivals. If you need your numbers to go up, then just sell people swimwear for their characters. Because those always... now, admittedly, this one is paired with 3 weeks of free in-game activities and rewards, which is pretty good. It was probably also planned.
I was joking, by the way. I actually thought that Capcom was gonna do the typical Capcom spiel and sell an infinity amount of some resource that you can farm an infinity amount of in 5 minutes for $10. I thought Capcom was gonna do that. Capcom does that a lot. Capcom does that constantly, by the way. They're gonna sell in-game power for stuff that you can get an infinity amount in-game in literally less than 5 minutes. It's pretty hilarious that Capcom does that. I actually thought that that's what they're gonna do.
Before any chaos.
But I like the solution of boobs.
Began, but it will likely sell well regardless. And I guess it makes one thing pretty damn clear. If you are an aspiring game developer, simply just make money by selling swimwear in your game. It works every time, apparently. With all this going on, people are kind of worried that they'll just, like, forget about the game and move on to the next thing, because basically it's...
No, they're not. You can bet on one thing, and that is that they're not forgetting about this. This is a redemption story waiting to happen. So they're gonna put in time. Now, it depends on how everything will escalate, because currently things are bad. And if they don't get better with things that they do, they're going to get desperate. And that's where the collapse, in my opinion, is going to happen. I am pretty hopeful for the collapse of Capcom to a certain degree, yes. But, you know, we're going to see. We're going to see, because it kind of depends on them. Because this is a redemption story just waiting to happen so easily. Anyway, that was Baldur News 10 out of 10. Bye.